Well, there's some things that drew me to the industry and about my personality that I've always been really interested in science, first of all, and I've also been interested in the interface between chemistry and biology. And it was that interface that was really interesting, a great interest to me, that you could do, as a chemist, you could do something to improve human health. And that's how I got involved in medicinal chemistry in general and drug discovery in particular. So those are the things that drew me into this line of work. And it's great because it's a great way to make a living, and you can do something that's pretty cool, actually. So what is involved in bringing a drug to the marketplace, and the things that are involved are, first, identification of a biological target that you think will modulate the pathophysiology of some disease state. And then you need to identify a molecule that you want to develop. And then that molecule goes into what's called preclinical safety, where you do the manufacturing and testing in laboratory animals and determine its overall safety. Then it can advance into human clinical trials. And there's 3 phases in human clinical trials. Phase 1 is to determine whether the drug is absorbed and circulates in the bloodstream. The second is, does the drug actually work in a disease state that you're interested in? And then finally, the phase 3 is a pivotal trial where you enroll far more patients and see in a much greater patient population whether it's better than some other treatment modality. One of the ways that you can spot a winner is to figure out whether the molecule binds to the receptor that you're interested in modulating. And then if it's well absorbed, and if you can find, as the dose increases, you get a more profound increase in the biological response that you expect. That's when you know you've got something that is pretty nice. And if it doesn't form any toxic metabolites, then you know you're really onto something that might be worth advancing. Well, I got involved in drug discovery back in 1986 when I first came to St. Louis to work at Monsanto in laboratories that were called the Central Research Labs. And Monsanto had recently purchased Searle, a pharmaceutical company, and it was our objective then to help them out. So we looked at their projects, and we thought there were some things that we could help them with. And little by little, this new target that I described as COX-2 was identified, and then my charter was to try to find a molecule that would modulate the activity of that enzyme, and that would also reduce pain and inflammation in laboratory animals. And that's how I got started in drug discovery. Prior to my involvement in COX-2, I had worked on inhibitors of the HIV protease, an enzyme that's critical to the infection of the HIV virus into healthy cells. And that's when that was my first venture into drug discovery, and then migrated from that project into the COX-2 project. So the drug that we've identified at Euclides works by, it has very interesting properties. We specifically designed this molecule to have the utility, greater utility in the cancer setting, anti-cancer setting. It has certain properties that we've endowed in this molecule by our intuition, also and experimentation, that allows it to go into a tumor microenvironment where most other related molecules are unable to do. That's the big advantage of this molecule versus molecules that have been identified in that same class previously. Well, the future for cancer therapy is right at this moment is really exciting. There's a lot of the understanding now, increasing knowledge about the role of the immune system and the role that the immune system plays in blocking or not recognizing cancer cells. So all throughout your life, one's life, cancer cells will develop, mutant cells. The immune system is able to recognize those as foreign bodies and will go and upregulate the immune system and destroy those cancer cells. But over time, with growing numbers of mutations, the cancer cells are able to evolve such that they're unrecognizable by the immune system. And once that happens, the immune system recognizes them as their own cells. So your immune system doesn't attack normal cells. It only attacks those cells that it recognizes as being foreign. And so once the cancer cells are able to evolve a cloaking device, if you will, such that the immune system doesn't recognize them, then they can spread and infiltrate other tissues. So I think right now is a super exciting time to be involved in cancer research, because we've recently been able to figure out how those cells cloak themselves from the immune system, and now we can marshal the immune system to kill those cancer cells. So that's a really exciting thing right now. And one of the ways that cancer cells can cloak themselves is by making prostaglandin E2, which is derived from COX2. So we find that once we are able to block COX2, prostaglandin E2 rather, the immune system then becomes aware of these cancer cells and can go ahead and attack them. I think that, so my personal feeling about entrepreneurship is, you start from an idea, and you have to have the, I guess, self-confidence to feel like you can actually go ahead and do this. But it's also critical to surround yourself by really talented and committed people. And I think that the Euclides team is, without comparison, I mean, we have really top-notch people. And I think if you have a really good team, you can accomplish really amazing things. And hopefully we can, do something to help people with this disease that's pretty hard to treat at the moment.